A pleasant evening to everyone. Hello to our Facebook and YouTube viewers and participants. Welcome to the StackLeague Jobstreet Career Session, a stronger workforce after the pandemic. I am Geraldine and I will be your host for tonight's event. I would like to remind everyone that if you have any questions regarding StackLeague or anything about the session, you can type them in the comment section. We'll address them later at the Q&A session. Before we dive into tonight's event, we would like to give you an overview of StackLeague. Janela Kasim-Simon of StackLeague will help me with that. Take it away, Ella.
So thank you so much, Geraldine. So good evening, everyone. Again, I am Ella. I will be sharing with you a quick overview of StackLeague. So, StackLeague is the Philippines' largest online programming league. Our mission is to develop programming leaders that inspire the nation into coding. The tournament is powered by StackCheck, fully automated talent analytics and assessment platform. Now, in its second competitive year, StackLeague wouldn't be possible without the support of our partners. We're fortunate to be supported by the top companies in the industry. So we have silver sponsor Coding Chips, and bronze sponsor we have Microsoft, Deltec System, Upper.ph, Recruit Day, and Gcash. And we have our media partners. We have SparkUp, App Gadgets, WhatsApp Pilipinas, Corner Magazine PH, Androidis, Megabytes, Backend News, Bluewing, and Manila Republic. The same goes to our community partners who help the league reach as many programmers in the country as possible. So here they are. This pioneering programmer league was launched last year, March 16, 2021, and is now gathering over 10,000 tech talents across the country to test their leadership, perseverance, and coding skills with the promise of national recognition, lots of prizes, thousands of tech job opportunities, and access to invitation-only events. The league's year-round cash prize pool is now 10 million pesos in the duration of the whole competition. One of the highlights in StackLeague is weekly stack trace for both individual and team categories. Each week, the top 10 challengers and the top 3 teams are announced all across StackLeague's social media platform to recognize the challenger who stayed on top of the rankings. Apart from this, we also have StackLeague Featured Programmer and Team Campaign. The weekly top 10 challengers and the top 3 teams are going to be featured on StackLeague website and our social media channels. So StackLeague will also be hosting numerous tech and career sessions all throughout the year. Aside from this, there are also exclusive trainings and available for ranking up to the next challenger levels. These events and training are all for free. The StackLeague Ambassador Program is a year-round initiative to reward StackLeague challengers who go beyond the competition and inspire the nation into coding. To tell you more about the StackLeague Ambassador Program, here is a short clip for you. So congratulations to Denris Porbido for being the StackLeague Ambassador for April, winning the 3,000 pesos cash prize and a StackLeague t-shirt. If you want to be the next StackLeague Ambassador and win the cash prize and t-shirt, the program is now open for May. You can find the full mechanics at our website, bit.ly/StackLeague Ambassador 2022. There are 5 supported programming languages in StackLeague, so we have JavaScript, Java, Python, C#, and the PHP. This is how the ranking system works. After signing up, you can start from the bottom with 0 points. All you need to do is solve as many challenges as you can and earn the corresponding points. So the more points you earn, the higher your ranking goes. Once you have accumulated enough points, you can now get to the next level challenges, where more opportunities are unlocked for you to access. Next, we have 3 challenger levels. We have bronze, silver, and gold levels. So the new thing for this year's challenger level up is the prizes. So unlock bronze level, you will receive 100 pesos. Unlock silver level, you will receive 100 pesos also. And unlock gold level, you will receive 300 pesos. And there is also a StackLeague Treasure Chest individual category wherein the weekly top 10 challenger will receive 500 cash prize. We, and we also have StackLeague Playoffs. StackLeague Playoffs is a single elimination tournament featuring all monthly qualifiers where all weekly top 10 StackLeague challengers will automatically be invited to the monthly qualifier rounds. You can read the mechanics at bit.ly/StackLeague Playoffs 2022. To know more, here's another clip for you. So lastly, we are very excited to announce the StackLeague Lightning Series. If you are interested in testing your skill in a time-bound programming competition, such as StackLeague Playoffs but couldn't get into the weekly top 10 to get invited, the Lightning Series is open to all unranked, bronze, and silver challengers. An email with the Zoom link will be sent to you for the invitation. You can find the mechanics at bit.ly/Lightning Series Mechanics. And that's it for the overview of StackLeague. And remember that as a year-round tournament, StackLeague is looking for the best challengers that can stay up in the ranks and become programming leaders for the long haul. That's all on my end. Back to you, Geraldine.
Thank you, Awa, for giving a short introduction of StackLeague. Let's not delay any further. Jobstreet is one of the leading internet recruitment websites in the Asia Pacific since 1995, helping facilitate the matching and communication of job opportunities between job seekers and employers. Our resource speaker is an experienced marketing manager with over 13 years of experience in startup, utilities, telco, transportation, and now job market industries. Currently, he is the candidate marketing lead for Jobstreet Philippines. Before our speaker join us here in the stream, here is a short clip for everyone.
Fun fact, I was almost kicked out. A lot of people seem to assume that I was a star student growing up, when in fact, I was quite the opposite. I struggled with my grades and I struggled with my requirements. I struggled with my entrance exams. And I was even delayed for a semester because I was a shifter. But here's the thing about hitting rock bottom. There's nowhere to go but up. All I needed to do was to try, and to try hard. Even though I wasn't a natural at many of the things that I pursued, I was always reminded that I owe it to myself to try. I wasn't a natural at writing, I owe it to myself to try. I was too nervous to audition, I owe it to myself to try. I wasn't qualified, I owe it to myself to try. If there's anything I learned through the years, it's that failure isn't fatal and rejection isn't the end of the road. You owe it to yourself to try. Hi, I'm Ayin Bernos and I believe you can do it too. Let's get to work.
Warm welcome to Mr. Rafael de la Cruz.
Good evening, Geraldine. Thank you, StackLeague, for having us here as part of your event, and we are very excited to present our findings from Jobstreet to show what it is that we are looking at for the next few years. That being said, if I can go right ahead. So, just as a background, a lot of the findings that I'll be presenting today came from our Decoding Global Talent or GTS survey, which we conduct on a yearly basis. And for the purpose of the previous survey that we ran, we did a survey of 190 countries, 208,000 participants, and 15,000 of those coming from the Philippines. So it's a very hefty survey and very intricate survey. So it gets really deep down into a lot of the issues that we want to solve and identify, right? So the big question really is, what are the job trends that are happening in the Philippines right now? Can you tell us more about this, especially with the background being we've just passed COVID. Uh, it wasn't that long, at least to my perception, back in March 2020 when the pandemic first struck and really pivoted the whole industry. In fact, not just the job industry, but basically the way that we interface with everyone in itself. So it's a very earth-shaking event that hit us, not just in the Philippines but globally. And right now, we want to see how has this affected the market trends here in the Philippines. So before the pandemic, of course, a couple of given items: salary compensation, career development opportunities, and work-life balance, as well as job security, of course, have always been the top items on the minds of applicants and workers in general in regard to staying uh, with their jobs or looking for new jobs. What's to note though is that location uh, played a key uh, played a key role in these decisions in going into one job or another. If, let's say, I am from the very north of Quezon City in Fairview, and then I was given a job offer in Cavite, maybe magdadalawang isip ako, ika nga, no? So location really becomes an issue and something that is always at the back of our minds when we select a job or when we try to audit ourselves in the current situation in the job that we are in. But ever since the pandemic, a lot of these things have changed, especially with the work from home arrangement. It's no longer just it's no longer a crazy idea for me to uh, be in the province yet have work in some business center like Makati, Cubao, or BGC. So it's now becoming more of a fact of life, and it's becoming more or less ordinary for the Filipino people, no, and Filipino workers. So, what has changed in regard to Filipino workers' priorities ever since the pandemic, the big pivot, basically? Well, for one, before I get into that, I want to discuss the great resignation. During the pandemic, the mindset was all these companies are starting to close, and it became very prudent for every worker not really to go searching for jobs because this is the source of their income. This is what provides their livelihood. But it came to a point where business objectives clashed with more deeper priorities uh, in terms of these individuals, such as the business objectives started to eat up in the number of hours that people were working because uh, some people had to be laid off. That person now had to take more responsibility for that organization in order for the organization to survive. And that kind of snowballed into everything else. It meant more hours. It meant having to uh, give up some of the personal time with your family, with your friends, with your spouses. And burnout became very real. A lot of people started to realize that even during the pandemic, maybe this is not for me. Maybe I just need to take a break. And towards the end of 2020 and for the rest of 2021, for that matter, uh, we noticed a trend called the Great Resignation. There was a massive resignation in terms of people leaving their jobs, not just in the Philippines, but it was a global thing that was noticed around the world. And as we went towards 2022, we noticed that this really wasn't a great resignation, but it was morphing towards what we call uh, the great reshuffle. How this one morphed is after the resignation, people had this epiphany or started to have this epiphany that maybe the traditional sense of my life revolving around work no longer holds true. But instead, it should be my work revolving around the lifestyle that I want. So you'd see, especially with the advent of technology, this connectivity that we do have here, the e-meetings via Zoom and what have you, it opened doors a lot for great opportunities. Like if my lifestyle required me to work in the province, yet still have that high rate of income, like I would have, let's say, in the bigger cities, I can do that. Or not necessarily work per se, maybe having that reevaluation of finding something in terms of fulfillment. If this company doesn't align with my morals and virtues, then maybe this is not the company which is for me. Vis-a-vis, if I find one, then I would go for that company. So a lot of these things happened in the background during 2020, 2021, and even until now. So having those things uh, uh, playing around in the background, um, what are the things that we noticed statistically? Before the pandemic, a huge majority of the working population was set in having their work done on site. 58% wanted work done on site. Right now, it's a totally different picture in which only 4% of the whole would want their work being done completely offsite, with an astounding half of it wanting completely remote, and a portion, almost half as well, having a combination of working from home as well as working in the office, a hybrid setup. So that's the big pivot immediately that we were able to feel in regard to technology and connectivity. And it's not just that, it's not just working remotely to a job, let's say in Makati or in BGC, but it's becoming more interconnected globally. And a lot of Filipinos right now are working. We've noticed the trend that they are working for companies overseas. A lot of these companies would be coming in from Australia, Canada, and United States. These are the uh, main culprits, if I may, because of course, as Filipinos, we have a really good command of English, and this is really where, on top of being finding good employment, uh, they're also getting paid in foreign currency, for example, in US dollars. So it's no longer a requirement that if I want to earn a lot of money, I do need to migrate, uproot myself and go to, let's say, United States or Canada. I have the ease of maybe working where I am at home in the Philippines and still gain the earning capacity that I can achieve, let's say, in the United States, Australia, Canada, South Korea, UK. So that in itself is already astounding. So uh, 49% are willing to work for a remote worker overseas. and 57% is willing to work for a remote employer. So it's quite a huge number. So what are the reasons why? I mentioned a couple of these reasons earlier. They have better compensation and benefits. They present a more secured option in terms of business, in which is not affected by the local economy, local politics, local events. So something that is more predictable. Um, and these companies from other countries are able to provide equipment for remote work. So they equip you with these items, and then, as mentioned earlier, opportunity to work anywhere to where you are comfortable. There is no need to report to a local office because of the rise of these technologies that we have right now. So, as a Filipino companies need to invest in remote working infrastructure and benefits, which are at par with global competitors. Uh, I must mention in this one, in regard to the great resignation and the great reshuffle, never has it been in the past few decades that the power dynamics is favoring the worker right now. So if there's any time right now to go job hunting, now is the best time, because the power dynamics is strongly shifted towards the employees and away from employers. So now, what are the main attractors in regard to staying or looking for a job? Back in 2009, I mentioned this one earlier. You can't really let go of salary and compensation, but in 2020 and 2021, what has been a top consideration is job security, and as mentioned, a good work-life balance. This goes back to the point of the Great Resignation and the Great Reshuffle, and of course, good relationship with your superior. So these things really come into play. No longer is it all about money. It's all about how can I live my own life with my work revolving around my life rather than vice versa. I was mentioning earlier about the importance of morals and virtues, and especially with millennials and Gen Zs, this has been very critical in regard to looking for new companies or staying with companies. 60% of Filipinos below the age of 30 exclude from their search lists companies that are not environmentally responsible. The same way that 60% of the youth do not pick companies that discriminate based on age, race, or gender. So if I can use a term, woke na tayo. Filipinos are very woke when it comes to this. We don't just go selecting anymore, and kung saan na lang ako matanggap, that's where I'm gonna go. We've become more selective in regard to the companies that we select. We want to make sure that when we go to work, the time that I dedicate, it means something in the greater scheme of things. It's not just all about uh, earning earning pesos and being able to sleep at home and eating what I want. There's a need to make a difference. One thing, though, that we need to shift to is the idea of automation. Right now, in the during the pandemic, a great amount of work that has a lot of manual inputs were at risk in regard to getting laid off. Manual work and manufacturing during the peak of the pandemic, 60% uh, either experience being laid off or getting decreased work time. Comparing that to the industries that more or less were more protected due to automation, like digitization, IT technology, uh, finance, these industries were more protected compared to those jobs that had a lot of manual work entailing that are entailed in those tasks. And what's notable also is that uh, if you haven't reached a certain type of education, it should be at the back of your mind. Nakakatakot na my job can be taken anytime by a machine. So the higher your education has progressed in life, then more or less you feel a certain sense of security that no, my role, my position won't be taken away by automation. But it is there, and it must be noted that automation already has penetrated even those roles which we have traditionally thought of as impossible to be penetrated by machines, like art. I think it was only a few months ago, within this year, that Google was able to come up with an AI in which it would create artworks based on a specific input. So these are unique um, inputs that we place on Google, and it's able to create. So even those traditional works that we think uh, could not be penetrated by AI might be at risk down the line. Again, these are the primary roles that are at risk when it comes to automation: manual work in manufacturing, customer service, media and information, the service sector, and administrative and secretarial roles. The good thing about this one is in regard to Filipinos, uh, we never lose our edge when it comes to wanting to be retrained, no matter what the age. Gusto natin palagi matuto. So yes, your education might be an indicator of how much of a risk you are in terms of losing your job. But if you're willing to be retrained, that's a totally different topic altogether. And later on, I'll be discussing the jobs and alternative jobs in which uh, you'd want to shift into in terms of reskilling and retooling yourselves. So this is a very important table. Now, at the x-axis from left to right, it shows the various industries that are at low risk from the left, all the way to higher risk jobs. Higher risk jobs meaning the potential of losing this one within your organization, towards the right. And then on a scale, y-axis scale, vertical scale, the higher you are, the greater the willingness of the employees or the individual to learn these tools. So you'd see two boxes here right now. The one on the left would show industries that are more or less uh, strong enough to manage changes, both in terms of the industry as a whole, or making it through calamities like what we just experienced the past few years with COVID. Well, the ones on the box on the right shows the industries and the markets in which medyo dehado. These are very variable when it comes to these calamities that we do have here. And then you'd see that dotted line cutting diagonally across. This is where we're able to find out the cost benefit analysis of maintaining these jobs within your organizations or being part of this organization. So if you're on the right, mag-isip-isip ka na. um, I'm not saying that there's no fulfillment in staying in these jobs. There'd always be a role waiting for you with other companies in regard to this one. There'll always be a need. But if you want to really protect your position in the organization, you need to upskill yourself and learn some skills that are on the left hand side of your screen, such as management, such as a bit of engineering and technical jobs, and a bit more on the lower scale items in which not everybody has the willingness to learn, like IT, a bit of social care, a bit of law. Those things would always be useful to shift into. So, if I'm not mistaken, the majority of contestants in StackLeague are within the IT industry. You are very lucky to be part of that industry, really. You've always been protected, especially during the pandemic. But it's always good to learn new skills just to further improve your position, such as engineering or a bit of management once you get down the line getting your promotion. Okay, in terms of learning, I placed a lot of emphasis in upskilling or learning new skills. So, what are the ways in which we usually learn these new skills? For the Philippines, it has always been consistent. It's all about on the job training, self study, conferences, and seminars. But what has made a big jump would be online educational institutions. So online learning. We do have a lot of partners here in Jobstreet. Jobstreet itself has a lot of materials for upskilling, and our network also is quite big in regard to that one. We have the likes of Luna Academy and Future Learn. So uh, I would strongly insist for individuals that have not taken advantage of upskilling, please do. This would really be helpful for you down the line. Now, moving forward amidst COVID. So, what are the things that you want, and how are companies able to deal with it? So, in order to stay with the company, of course, there needs to be a certain level of job security. The biggest concern, as mentioned, would be, tatagal ba tong kumpanya na to? Kasi pag hindi, I'm going to jump ship. Now, what companies have been doing is making sure that they're highlighting to the employees that we've survived, and that is already a big deal for a lot of employees being able to make it through to 2020, 2021, and now 2022. It's already a big feather on their cap. No? Additionally, readiness to work remote is something that we've been asking a lot, and for companies that can't afford or can't really provide due to the nature of the company, let it be construction and or what have you, being able to offer other benefits makes way to our benefit to go for that company. Maybe take a look at this company. Additionally, I mentioned this one a lot earlier, the stance on relevant social and environmental issues. We want that. And companies are right now taking a more proactive stand in regarding to taking a social issue. A good example of this one is if you checked out on social media, a lot of companies have made sure that the audiences on Facebook or social media are out there to vote, that you're taking an active participation, whoever your candidates are, to go out and vote. And that is already something that candidates and current employees view positively. Additionally, when it comes to retaining us in within their fold, we are always looking for flexibility in remote work in ours. Uh, if you're familiar or have been listening to the news in the past few months, the government basically is pushing for a return to business as usual. So less of work remote and going back into the business districts like Makati BGC, of course for their own reasons as well, because in the commute, in going into these cities or locations, it revives the economy, the local economy there. But it doesn't remove the fact that tayo medyo napepeligro. So it's a bit of a balancing act, really. And how companies are able to meet these requirements, of course, is they need to invest in virtual tools, balance governance and flexibility. This is what I've been mentioning earlier. Providing the sufficient level of flexibility that, yes, all right, pagbigyan kita, work kayo from home, but you also do come from the office from time to time, especially during meetings. You can't deny the impact of face-to-face engagements as well. And of course, it pays to experiment. This is all very new for everyone. Nobody has got it right the first time. So experimenting would have good returns. And then, of course, we want a good work-life balance. Daming the burnout. Again, I'll always go back to the topic of the Great Resignation and the Great Reshuffle. Nakakatakot yung experience na to, and rightfully so. It is really about finding the job that fits your lifestyle. No? And it's good that for companies, in order to adapt to the current situation, is to provide more transparency in terms of having work chats, having that security, and having a buddy or having engagement activities so that you feel more involved in the organization. And of course, to have our leaders within the organization to show that they're technology champions. Technology champions meaning that we can see them na, oh, si boss nag-work from home siya. Maybe I can work from home. Maybe hindi ko kailangan mahiya mag-work from home. And that builds trust within the organization. A bit more on this one. What are the things that are now on the lookout? Previously, it has always been about the degree. That's no longer true. Job seekers that have a very unusual career paths are in demand. Uh, you may not have had that much of a stellar academic life, but you do have a really good background in, let's say, you've won the StackLeague competition. That is already something, especially if it's outside of your usual core skill set in your degree. That is something that hirers are in the lookout for. So really, job seekers that have unusual skill sets are in demand. As mentioned, uh, having more than one skill would greatly benefit the job seeker in making sure that they have job security. Companies make sure that they are implementing, in order to add to that, implementing reskilling sessions to make sure that there's a variety in regard to the skills that are available within the organization. Of course, we are also looking to make sure that meron progression within the organization. There's a career path and career development plan for me. So how companies are implementing these, they're reshaping new roles. If there previously wasn't a role for this task, then we shall create these roles, not to make sure that your specific function is differentiated. Okay, how to be considered once again, being part, making sure that you were part of a developmental framework that you're able to show your future employer that you're considered for a higher position within your job, and of course that you've been working on being empowered with your upskilling and being reskilled. What companies are implementing, make sure that they are providing skills for digital and agile work type of environments, and that they are providing the right type of culture within their organization. Again, a throwback to the morals within the organization. as well as investing in virtual learning and coaching within the organization. So there you have it. That is my presentation on the trends that we do have right now after the pandemic.
Sure.
Thank you very much, StackLeague.
Thank you very much, Rafael, for that very enlightening and insightful presentation. Knowing that many of our participants and viewers are from various types of courses and that involve technology and have experience interest in the future trends of IT industry. So, this is the most exciting part of our session tonight. We are now opening the floor for questions from our participants. So, let's go. So, here's the question from Jewel. What are the advantages of online application process, especially in Jobstreet company, than the actual process, and how big the differences is?
Thank you for that one, Jewel. That is a really good question. Top of my mind immediately rang the bell about security. Right now, with various platforms, especially on social media, popping up about various job openings, we experience on a daily basis finding a lot of these are scams. So you might be investing a lot of your time applying to these roles, thinking that this is a legit company, only to find out down the road that they're requiring placement fees, which, by the way, is illegal, or it's part of a networking scam. So definitely, automatically, that is a red flag. Um, Additionally, the advantages that we're able to provide beyond just being a job search platform is being able to take care of your career in terms of providing you of templates for um, applications for your resume, making sure that your income vis-a-vis your achievements are at par or better than your previous employer. We do have that one. It's a new tool which we launched. It's called the salary guide. So you're able to see based on your position and based on your tenure, how much am I earning and how much should I be earning. So that in itself is already something which we are very excited for. So those are the two big advantages that I can tell you. And the third one, if I may, is that we have the largest in terms of hires available on our platform. Hires and jobs. We have more than 75,000 jobs at any one point in Jobstreet, which I'm sure there is that one perfect job, again, that fits your lifestyle.
So, yeah, thank you for answering Jewel's question, Rafael. Let's proceed now to the next question from Cora, Cora Mercado. With the trend of increasing opportunities in the IT industry that would mean higher competition, do you have any practical tips you can share on how to stand out among the other applicants?
That's actually a good question. I do hope I don't sound like a broken record, but upskilling really is something that hirers are on the lookout right now. So if you have upskilled in other items, not just in uh, your current sphere of knowledge, like if I am uh, a coder for PHP or SQL, but I also know Photoshop,
Mm.
that increases the likelihood of you getting hired. Or if you have, let's say, a course in management that would also that you've done a bit of upskilling with, that would really be beneficial for you. uh, in other items, of course, I'll go through the basics, no, making sure that your resume is up to par. Most people tend to breeze through the resume making process and just put the bare items. But sometimes that one resume, that one contact point that you have with the hire is all that you have. So make sure that you're able to represent yourself properly. Hindi ni madali yung paggawa ng resume, and you should be good. Making, if I may say, making that good first impression really is important. I hope I was able to
So,
answer your question, Cora.
well, skills and a good resume is the most important thing in applying such jobs, sir. So let's go to the next question from Hosh. One of the good things that the pandemic brought was that a lot of Filipinos went back to the hometowns because of remote work. I think that traffic also was better, just to name a small effect. And here's the question, sir. Do you think it's still good to go back to the on-site work wherein the working population is congested in metro cities?
That is a really good question. And if you're able to answer that one, you should be working in government. No? But here's our 2 cents on this one. It's a very easy question to ask, but it's very complicated and a lot of items that need to be resolved. Government right now is pushing for a lot of the workers to start going back to the offices uh, due to mainly the need to revive the local economy outside or within those business areas. Uh, if you must know, commuting doesn't mean just traveling from point A to point B. It means that you're making certain stops along the way, buying from this company or this store and what have you. So a lot of purchases happen along the way. You're also financing the transportation sector in terms of buses, taxis, trains. You're putting money into that one when you're commuting. So you're in in commuting, you're throwing a lot of money into the economy, and that's the mentality right now of the government as to why it's important to bring us back to how it was a few years ago before the pandemic. What needs to be understood, though, that what has worked before doesn't have to be how we are going to proceed moving forward. Times have changed. We have learned from the pandemic that working remote is just as effective, if not more effective in some cases. We have shown that productivity has increased for these companies. Now, it has to be a balance to address the two issues. And right now, what a lot of companies are compromising with is a hybrid setup in which you have to return to work every or show up to work every so often. But if you're going to ask my personal opinion, the trend moving forward, we have shown that work remote is effective, and this is not going to go away anytime soon. It's here to stay.
Thank you, Rafael. I hope, Hush, that answers your question. So let's proceed now to the next question. What is the probability that graduating students like us will get hired through the Jobstreet website? It's from Anne.
That's actually a really good question. Um, in my in my time of jumping from one company to another, I've always transacted through Jobstreet. If that's any indication of the success in which I've had in my career, I'm quite sure you'd have the same trajectory as well if you choose to go through JobStreet. Uh, Again, I keep on harping on the fact that JobStreet is the perfect platform for hirers to meet candidates such as you, future candidates such as you, and for candidates to meet hirers as well. It goes vice versa. Unlike other platforms that offer only limited number of hirers, we offer the greatest number of hirers and the greatest number of jobs available here in the country. We are the largest one, in fact, here in the country, and we are also able to offer them the greatest number of candidates. So it's about finding that perfect fit. How I would recommend you go about your job search in Jobstreet is having first the idea of what do you actually want in your future career. Um, Sometimes the way that a lot of people were raised before is that basta meron akong makitang trabaho na ma-employan, that's good enough. That no longer holds a lot of truth. It needs to fit your own lifestyle as well. And parang parang sa mga movies, you'll meet the one in Job Street. That's what I'm really confident in proclaiming to you.
Well, and just visit Jobstreet website and look for the job that suits you. There's a lot of job available in Jobstreet, I think. So, Rafael, I think that's the last question for tonight.
All right.
As much as we want to answer all your questions, that's it for the Q&A session.
Thank you, everyone.
Ay, oh, I'm sorry, Rafael.
Okay.
There's one question here. It's from Ichi, I think. I saw that art and creative work is part of the higher risk job. For artistically inclined people, is it better to look for work that would ensure a stable career? What advice can you give po? I'm
What
sorry. Yeah.
what I can tell you is if you're employed already within that industry, stay. It's something that you studied for in college and spent a lot of your time. You've invested a lot of time in that certain skill set. So if you're still employed in an art and creatives type of work, stay. What I am recommending is that you upskill yourself and don't limit yourself to artistic or arts related skills. You need to focus and build your management type of skills as well. You need to learn a bit about IT as well, so that in the event that your organization needs to contract a bit, you always have that one skill in which you can say, "Boss, uh, maybe it's not a good idea for me to be removed from your company because I can offer this." That's one way of looking at it. The other way of looking at it, if you upskill, you don't limit yourself to that one industry. You also open doors for yourself in other companies as well, maybe higher paying companies as well, both in which you're able to enjoy your key skill set and this new skill set. So, uh, saying that you only have this art and creative skill with you, and then kailangan ko ba umalis and look for another job? Not necessarily. It's all about upskilling yourself and using that to your advantage. I hope I was able to answer your question, Ichigo.
Thank you, Rafael. So as much as we want to answer all your questions, that's it for the Q&A session. So before we dive into our announcement, is there anything else you want to add, Rafael?
Yeah, this coming, speaking of jobs, this coming June 13th to the 17th, where am I pointing? Yeah, pointing over here. We have a virtual career fair
Well,
this June 13 to 17 with the theme of independence because it's Independence Week, freedom and independence, freedom for you to choose the type of career that you love and that fits your lifestyle. So if you're looking for work from home jobs, we will be offering that one. If you are from the province and you want a job that is closer to home, then we also do have that one. Uh, Keep posted on our Facebook page. We will be making our announcements starting May 23rd. So you heard it first here in Stack League that we'll be having a virtual career fair this June.
Thank you, Raf.
All
We'll
right.
take note of that. That's a good opportunity for the new graduates of this year.
Correct.
So thank you again, Rafael.
All right.
And here are the upcoming Stock League events. Um, so Stock League UX page text session, web accessibility done right, common design gaps and how to fix them on May 25th. That's Wednesday at 6 p.m. Since StackLeague is one of the initiatives of StockTrek, we have another opportunity for you. The Department of Information and Communications Technology, which is the DICT, is co-hosting with StockTrek an initiative called Code Your Future, 40 minutes coding workshop for non-coders on May 27th. That's Friday at 10 a.m. And the next one is StackLeague AWS Text Session, Reinventing Your Business with Data on June 1st, Wednesday at 6 p.m. There are plenty of opportunities for you to learn here in StackLeague. Go to fb.com/StackLeague/events for the registration for the registration details and get the latest updates. To help StackLeague team improve the sessions for you, answer this 5-minute question form bit.ly/StackLeague sessions feedback, or you can just scan the QR code flash on your screens. StackLeague Ambassador for May is now accepting entries. Earn your ambassador points now. Visit bit.ly/StackLeague Ambassador 2022. Also, make sure to earn league points to unlock the challenger levels and receive the prizes. Don't forget also to check out the StackLeague Lightning Series. Visit bit.ly/Lightning Series Mechanics for more info. So that's all for the announcement. On behalf of the StackLeague team, I would like to say thank you to everybody for joining the StackLeague Jobstreet Career Session, a stronger workforce after the pandemic. If you don't have a StackLeague account yet, make sure to sign up now at stackleague.com, and of course, invite your friends and family who you think should be part of the league. See you guys at the next StackLeague event. This has been your host, Geraldine. Good night, everyone.